All right, let's jump right into it. Welcome to this explainer where we're taking a really strategic deep dive into an absolute icon of Philippine agriculture, ube. But listen, we aren't just looking at this from a backyard gardening point of view today. We are putting on our agro-commercialization hats. So whether we are an investor, an exporter, a food processor, or just a serious agribusiness owner, this breakdown is designed entirely for you. We're going to deconstruct the exact systems required to take ube from the dirt all the way to the global commercial market.
I want to kick things off right off the bat with this thought. Akala natin ang ube business is plant, harvest, then sell. Pero kung export or commercial market ang target, kulang iyon. We often think it's as simple as putting a plant in the ground and selling what comes out. But if your target is the export or commercial market, that traditional mindset, it falls woefully short. Today, we are going to completely shatter that traditional farming illusion.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The ube business myth. 2. Starting the farm right. 3. Crop maintenance and harvest. 4. Proper post-harvest handling. 5. The commercialization layer. And finally, 6. Building the value chain. Section 1. The ube business myth. Why traditional mindsets fail to scale. So, why do so many agricultural products just totally fail when they try to enter commercial markets? Honestly, you see this with passionate MSMEs and aspiring exporters all the time. They hit a massive wall. The reasons? Well, inconsistent product quality, where one batch is great but the next is totally unusable, a lack of proper documentation, which international buyers absolutely demand, weak post-harvest handling that ruins the crop before it even reaches a facility, zero traceability back to the farm, which is a giant red flag for food safety, completely ignoring specific buyer sizing specifications, and finally, having no clear processing or value-added plan. Operating with a purely agricultural mindset pretty much guarantees you'll hit these roadblocks. Section 2. Starting the farm right. Building the foundation for commercial quality. Okay, so market matching actually starts at the very beginning, literally at the seed level. You can't just plant generic ube. You have to plant exactly what your buyer wants. If a commercial buyer needs that iconic, deep color for, say, ube ice cream, you absolutely must select the original Kinam pie with its red-purple flesh. But hey, if they just need pure volume and high yield for a different product, you might want to pivot to Caboose oak, which is known for white flesh and large tubers. Understanding these varieties like Tomasam, Banatog, or Banato is your very first critical business decision. Quality control starts with your raw planting materials. You take healthy ube tubers and cut them into smaller planting pieces. These are called sets, and they should weigh somewhere between 60 to 250 grams. It is vital that each set has enough skin area to actually sprout. Think of it like the foundation of a building. If you compromise here and use weak or diseased planting materials, your entire commercial investment is basically compromised from day one. Once you've got those sets, there's a strict protocol. First, you have to treat the cut sides with ash or fungicides. Skipping this is literally inviting rot straight into your investment. Second, air or sun-dry them until those cuts heal completely. Third, pre-sprout them in a shaded area. Since sets have a dormancy period, pre-sprouting them off-field drastically minimizes your weeding costs later on. And finally, plant them in well-drained soil right at the start of the rainy season, usually in ridges about 1 meter apart. Guys, these aren't just quaint farming tips. They are non-negotiable standard operating procedures. Section 3. Crop maintenance and harvest. Protecting your commercial investment. Now, this is systems thinking applied directly out in the dirt. Ube vines need support, and your yield is going to be significantly higher when you use a trellis. The pyramid trellising method is fantastic because it requires fewer but sturdier materials and takes way less labor to build. By training the vines to climb these stakes, and keep in mind, ube vines naturally twine to the right, you maximize their sunlight exposure, protect the plant, and ensure highly uniform, commercial-grade yield. Pest management isn't just about saving a plant, it is pure quality assurance. Commercial processors will instantly reject damaged goods, no questions asked. So prevent the fungal disease anthracnose with targeted fungicides or a compost tea. For ube beetles, a highly effective natural intervention is actually a hot pepper spray, just 100 grams of crushed hot pepper mixed into 16 liters of water. And to suppress root knot nematodes, which cause those really ugly bumps on the tubers, you'll want to dip infested tubers in hot water between 50 to 55 degrees Celsius for 40 minutes before planting, and use animal manure in your soil. Let's map out the timeline of your investment here. At month 0, you plant. The really critical window hits between 3 to 5 months during what's called the tuber bulking period. The plants need a ton of moisture here, so you absolutely must irrigate if you hit a dry spell. Interestingly, though, at 6 to 7 months, you actually have a strategic early harvest opportunity if market prices happen to be exceptionally high. Otherwise, you just wait for the full 10 to 11-month mark, when the foliage turns yellow and dries up. That's your signal that the crop is fully mature.
Section 4. Proper post-harvest handling, the bridge from farm to processing. I honestly cannot stress this part enough. Poor handling at this stage will destroy 11 months of hard work in a matter of days. First, when harvesting, loosen the soil very carefully. Any mechanical injury from a shovel just slashes the tuber's storage life. Second, sort and clean them rigorously. Treat any slight blemishes immediately with wood ash to stop fungal infections. Third, arrange them in a single layer with partitions, like rice straw, to prevent them from bruising each other and losing weight. Finally, if you're holding them for the market, store them cold at 12 to 16 degrees Celsius. Under these strict conditions, they'll maintain their commercial quality for up to 6 to 7 months. Think about the journey we are on here. We start with raw, harvested ubi straight from the soil, right? But the end goal is a highly refined, processed commercial product, something like a premium jar of Hawaiian ubi. Getting from a muddy tuber to a polished retail product does not happen by accident. It requires rigorous, unbroken systems every step of the way.
Section 5. The commercialization layer, shifting to a value chain mindset.
Let's put two different mindsets head-to-head for a second. The traditional farming mindset is hyper-focused on just planting and harvesting whatever happens to grow. It's entirely reactive. The commercial market mindset, however, is proactive. It starts at the end goal and works backward. It focuses on strict buyer specifications, food safety protocols, and securing necessary organic or export documentation before a single seed even touches the ground. If you really want to play in the big leagues, if you're looking to supply major food technologists, processors, or international buyers, these right here are your non-negotiables. You must guarantee a highly consistent supply volume. A factory simply cannot run on unpredictable deliveries. You have to deliver uniform product quality and sizing. You must have strict documented food safety compliance. You need clear export or organic documentation. And perhaps most importantly, you need end-to-end traceability. The buyer needs to know exactly which farm, which plot, and which practices produced the ube they are turning into their high-value products.
Section 6. Building the value chain, the path forward for Philippine ube.
The true opportunity isn't only in growing ube. The much bigger opportunity is building the system that makes ube consistent, traceable, safe, and market-ready. Look, anyone can plant a tuber, but building a resilient, documented, and scalable system, that is where the true value, and frankly the true profit, lies for investors and agribusiness owners. So what is the ultimate takeaway from this whole explainer? It's simple, but it's really profound. If we want our Philippine ube to compete on a global scale, to sit proudly on international shelves as premium products, we have to stop looking at it only as a crop in the ground. We have to manage it and invest in it as a complete, unbroken value chain. So the question is, what part of that chain are you going to build today?